may live, that you may go in, that you may possess the land, which God has for you, to give the land that God has to give to you. Let me tell you something. God don't want messed up folk going into situations to mess them up more. Now, with me saying that, we have to understand that our purpose in life, we may start out messed up. But we must realize that as we grow with God, our responsibility is to grow to health so that we can create healthier communities. With that being said, Frankie, we don't get involved in mess because we've been delivered from it. And we know the damages that it caused. And when you know what a broken arm feels like, you don't go around breaking people's arms. When you know what a broken nose feels like, you don't go around breaking people's nose. When you know what a broken heart feels like, you don't go around breaking people's heart. Are you with me? So Moses gives this, and check what verse number 2 is. He say, don't you add nothing to this? God's word is sufficient enough all by itself. Y'all saw how God dealt with folk that opposed him. God destroyed them. I'm going to make my way back down to number 10. I'm working my way back down to number 10. God destroyed them. He says, but you that cleave unto the Lord your God are alive, every one of you, till this day. If you want life and life abundantly, cleave to God. How do I cleave to God? Drop the C on cleave. And that cleave to God and leave Satan. Cleave to God and leave Satan. There is no good day you're going to make your wrong right. Wrong is wrong. Sunday at 8, Sunday at 11:30. Wrong is still wrong. During your prayer time, wrong is still wrong. I have learned in my prayers to reveal to God every contention that I have, that I'm struggling with. I'm sorry, but somewhere I read that there is a God that will get involved in my prayers. So if I'm struggling with a vice, why not tell God honestly what this vice feels like? Can I pray a little bit? God, I know this is outside of your will, but the sensation. God, how I feel when I eat a half of a sweet potato pie in one setting. I thought I'd tempt y'all a little bit to think way somewhere else and pull you back in. But what I'm saying is, whatever you're struggling with, you need to let God know what's the real thing is. Let him know how you feel about it. Let him know why you're struggling, letting it go. God, listen, I love this particular thing. It could be whatever you want to put in the block. It could be cursing. It could be lying. It could be, God, I deal with unforgiveness because, listen, it's hard for me to let it go because it pains me to think about it. God, it just seems like they're going to get over on me if I just let this go like that. God, it just seems like I'm the doormat and they've cleaned their feet on me. Tell God what's really happening. Why you feel the way you feel. God, I want to let it go, but they done put me in the trick bag 3 times already. I'm just being honest. That's how I pray. That's how I pray. Even when I was spending money like crazy, I had to tell God, God, I like to have X number of dollars. I didn't feel right unless I had $100 in my pocket. And I'm like, Lord, you got to help me because this really is a thing. And the people that's in my circle walking around with money in their pocket, I don't want to be embarrassed and say, I ain't got it. So God, I need you to help me to get over the pride of myself, to get over me. Or God, help it to be that when we go to eat and it's my turn, that it's a time that I have it. And it's not difficulty. It's not a difficulty to spend. that I have more than enough. But guide or guard those moments when I don't, that I don't have to jeopardize my house and my responsibilities at home to be able to have these kind of friends. And then God, work it out where it's more than just this. I'm talking about prayers I prayed. So those are the things that we lift up to God, is the thing that we're struggling with. Tell God how you really feel about it. God, I really enjoy, like, name something. Not yours, but just something. Pizza. God, I love pizza. But I know it adds to me. So help me to exercise discipline and restraint. Can I tell y'all something? If you are a committed tither faithfully, you already understand self-control. You already understand priority. You already understand discipline. Why not roll that over to the rest of your life? Are there not temptations with tithing? Sometimes you strap for the last, and they go to church saying, dog, it's Saturday. I got to give this $10 Sunday. Man, if I really need this 10 for the rest of the week. You kind of tempted to say, and don't let Matt them need something at school. So now it's between the church and getting at what they need in the school by Monday. I'm going to tell you, God will work until the last hour. If you do right by God, he may not come when you want him, but he'll be on time. I'm going to tell y'all something. A lady I was walking with just the other day, we call her May. Walking with her the other day. She said, let me tell you a story. We were walking over to the gym. She said, I was at Walmart, and I was buying supplies, and I got up to the register, and I'm like, whoa, Lord, you know, I got everything. Because she said, I had some hesitation about getting everything on the list. And she said, I got there, and I decided to go ahead on and get it. She said, there was a man behind me that said, is that everything you need, so to speak? Yep. He said, I'm going to take care of that. You went in thinking about, man, this is going to be hard. But God already had a ram standing at the cash register. How much can I get, sir? Get it all. Is that not what you came up here for? You came up here with it all. So get it all. That's why I say we got to learn to trust God with everything. With everything. I remember when Jan and I went to a financial counselor. Most people don't know that till now. We went. One thing the counselor said to us was, you all need to cut back. I had 3 kids, a newborn child, Gary, 2 kids, Dee and Alicia. I had a Ford Ranger, still paying for it. Jan had a Nissan Altima, I believe, still paying for it, and a house note. And the financial counselor says to us this, you all going to have to cut back, and y'all going to have to forget about tithe. I said, not an option. See, it's easy for us to sit up in the room on a case study on me. But when you got 3 kids, 2 car notes, a house note, light, water, gas, telephone. Gary's still on Similac or Infamy or whatever he was on. God has to take care of that. And we say to the counselor, there's no way we cannot do what God say do and expect God to help us with all of this. Y'all, I don't know how we did it, truthfully, but it happened. We worked that financial plan. We came out of debt. We came from under the credit card mess we were under. We got our credit and stuff restored. It happened. But we kept God in number 1. When you get paid, where's the first thing going to? To the house of God. That was not negotiable for us. Yeah, we could have used that $400 or whatever it was that we were paying a month to help out at the house. But had we done that, man, we would have had holes in our pockets. That's what I mean. So in our prayers, let's do this. Now, all right. So now we're down here where he says that there are nations that will understand that look at you and say, how does God people have such wisdom and understanding? Because I'm going to tell you something. If you want to be wise in the things of God, you got to be in the things of God. Man, there's such wisdom in here that's crazy. Like a woman that slept with, and smothered her baby and jumped up in the middle of the night and grabbed another woman's child. And then the woman said that that's my child, and he's standing before the king, and the king is brand new. And he says, whose child is it? She said, that's my child. The other woman said, no, it's my child. So the woman said, no, that's my child. And she killed her child. And he said, it's my child. And Solomon says, bring me a sword and bring me the baby. Let's go ahead and cut the baby in half. You get the half, you get half. And the mother who has lost her child already know what loss feels like. So to lose a child that ain't really yours, it's just kind of norm. She said, great. And Solomon says, the real mother is the mother that was willing to say, let her have him and the child live. That's the mother. It's because Solomon walked with God. What I'm trying to get y'all to understand is this, that when you walk with God, God will give you some things that you can't get in a book. God will give you discernment. He will give you some type of strong sensation to say, you know what, something ain't right about this. As I was sitting in my office with a young man that's getting ready to go to college to play football, and he's getting ready to go to college and matriculate through his education, I told him some things. And I told him, I said, this is the thing I want you to understand. That you go to school for two things primarily. You go into school for education first, and you go into school for football second. I said, some people send their children to school to look for husbands, and when you're an athlete and a star athlete, don't make no difference what color you are. When they feel like they're going to be comfortable, they'll pick you. See, some people will lower some things and change some things because this guy look like the way out the hood. They'll do that. So what ends up happening, I say to him, that in all that you do, at the end of the day, when you call me and tell me about a touchdown and tell me about you scored and all the defensive tackles that you made, I want to hear those things, but I saw them on TV. But I want to ask you one question at the end of the day. How are you and Jesus getting along? That's what I really want to know about, because see, every time you take the field and there's no injury, it was Jesus. Every time you made a tackle and it wasn't a concussion, it was Jesus. Every time that you were able to keep moving and growing in your athletic ability, it was Jesus. So I want you to understand that when you get to college, out of everything you get, don't forget to take Jesus with you. I said, go, listen, son, go and have fun. But make it safe fun. But make sure that Jesus is in there. God's going to help you get the grades. God's going to help you to be the athlete. And I told him, whatever lack that you have, you better let God know about it. Don't do nothing illegal, because God is beyond that stuff. God will put your speech in the room where it needs to be. Y'all hear me? And I told him a casual conversation that my niece had when she went to Hampton. She went there and told the financial advisor, she said to the people, she said, I need to speak with somebody. The lady that she knew who to speak for. And they spoke with the lady. And the lady says, the lady come out and greet her. And she told her about her dreams or her ambition to attend this university. And she talked about her desire not to have a financial hardship on her family. And the lady says this, we're going to see what we can do just by a conversation. See, what we learn to do is talk to people that don't make decisions. And we don't ask for the king. We want to work with the girl at the desk. But sometimes we need to speak to the person that's behind the wall that really has the power to make a decision. Did not God tell us that he will put us in position that we will be able to sit with kings and noble men? All right. He said they'll ask that kind of question. Then he goes on to say in verse number 10 is where I go. He says, especially the day that thou stood before God in Horeb. And here's the thing that Moses is talking about here. Moses is talking about the day here that when he went up to the mountain and he got the 10 commandments and he stayed too long, so they said. Yes, sir. And they began to press for somebody to be a leader. Yes, sir. Hey. And they say to him, listen, well, Moses is up there. Let's do something that we're familiar with. Let us build us a calf. Let us build us an image. Something that we can see and something that we can pray to. And they began to throw in the wealth that God told them to use to boost the economy over in Seir and places. They began to take this same wealth and build themselves a golden calf. Moses was up talking to God about the people of God, and the people of God down in the camp acting a fool. give us something else. That's why God had led them through the wilderness and said, kill everything. Because I don't want you to be influenced. It is crazy that you can take away people's toys, but you can't take away people's thoughts. Give us a God like they had. They go into idolatry. And when Moses comes down, well, let me talk about why Moses is up there. What is the noise that comes up from the camp? You may say, well, why does he say, why is the noise that comes up from the camp? Because God told Moses that my people's cry have come up to me. So the noise of this party, celebration down in the valley, it is heard at the mountaintop where Moses and God is. And this thing is, let's hasten and get down and see what's going on. And when Moses come down, Moses is floored with the idea that this is our response to God's goodness. Music, dancing, other things that are illicit and immoral. And y'all are okay with this? Moses is so furious that he breaks the books, the tablets. And God wants to have a conversation with the folk in the mountain, start smoking and trembling. And the people get afraid. God don't say nothing to us. Let Moses, your vessel, speak to us. God won't withhold his anger always. He's a God of mercy and he's a God that's tenderhearted. But God also is a God of expectation. He has expectations of us. So Moses says that he wrote the tables upon the stone. He goes on to tell them, listen, take care of yourself before you corrupt yourself. Verse number 16. And you made graven images, similitude to any figure in the likeness of male or female. Listen, Moses told them to listen. You built up an image that couldn't do nothing for you. Couldn't hear no prayer. Couldn't see your danger. Couldn't walk beside you. Couldn't hold your hand. Couldn't feel your hurt. But you chose to build an image. Sad, sad, sad. He goes on to say that I brought you out of Egypt, man. Verse 20. I brought you forth out of the iron furnace, even out of Egypt. Why? To be unto him a people of what? Inheritance. God wanted someone to inherit the promises that he's made. Will you be one? Old church say that God has promised good to me. Will you be the inheritor of the goodness that God has promised? God brought you through all the storms that you may be able to obtain the inheritance. God brought you through sickness and death that you may be able to obtain the inheritance. And the beauty of this thing is, it's in God's heart to do so. It is in God's heart that we would be blessed abundantly, that we would have something to look forward to, that we would have benefits to our lives. Watch this. Who wouldn't want a job that has a great retirement plan, vacation days, time off, career development, educational opportunities for you to grow personally and career-wise? Days that you can take off to pursue your own dreams and ambitions and still have the security of that job. Matching your retirement contribution, if not exceeding it. Who wouldn't want that job? Your wife having a child, take off some time and be with your wife. Well, you know she's not going to be able to get back on her feet this 6 weeks, but take 8. We'll make things work till you get back. Who wouldn't want that kind of job? But those are the kind of things that God's blessings look like. It works to your good. It favors you. Everybody's quiet. I guess that's why my mouth is dry, because you're sponging. He goes on to say, take heed to yourselves. Yes, sir. 22. And it says there, as you are today. Take heed. But the Lord, 20. Pointing who? 2:2. But I must die in this land. I must not go over Jordan, but ye shall go over and possess that good land. Do you know that Moses is not upset with Israel, even though they have caused him not to go over? He's still wishing them well. Even when you're not going to benefit, you ought to still be a well-wisher for others. Now, boy, if the church caught that, man, it would be amazing churches. Even if we're not going to go, and they are responsible for Moses not going. And Moses is saying to them, listen, go on over yonder, possess the land, even though I'm not able to go. Because you remember God told Moses way back on the other part, said, don't speak to me in verse number 26 of chapter 3. Don't speak to me no more about going over yonder. But get up on the mountain. Look it over some. But you ain't going. But here is Moses giving them a salutation of blessings. It is crazy. Can I dig a little bit into this? It is crazy that Moses is urging them to live in the image of God, even though I ain't going no more, going farther with you. I encourage you to obey God. I encourage you to inherit the inheritance of God. I encourage you, man, to just keep on keeping on. Obey God's voice. Keep his rules and regulations. Obey his command. I wonder how many people got sad with Moses when he said, I ain't going. But Moses, though not traveling farther, wishes them well. Take heed unto yourselves, lest you forget the covenant of the Lord your God, which he made with you, and make your graven image, or in the likeness of anything the Lord God hath forbidden thee. Be careful, unless you start thinking about yourself before you start thinking about God. When you start thinking about this is all I got, I catch my tithes up later, I'm going to borrow from my tithe. Nothing before God. Listen to what he's saying. Unless you make you graven images or likeness of anything that God would forbid. Your children before God. Your job before God. Ain't it strange? Strange. Let me say it right. Isn't it strange how on Sunday, if it's raining, we just going to stay in? Monday, when it's time to go to work, we gone. Ain't that kind of strange to you? Isn't it kind of strange to you that people say, man, I'm so sick, that's why you ain't seen me at church? Pastor, I just been going through some things, that's why you haven't seen me at church. It's been so rough on me, man. When I get it together, I'm coming back. You mean by yourself? Madam Secretary, scratch that name off the roll. Because when they get it right, we ain't going to see that one. Not by themselves, but when God helped them and they allow God to help them, we'll see them Sunday. Amen. It's strange to me how people disconnect from church or the body of Christ when they have problems. This is time that you draw me nearer, near, oh blessed Lord, to the cross where thou hast died. Draw me nearer, near, oh blessed Lord, to thy precious bleeding side. That's when we draw near. Am I making sense? All right. What do y'all want to add right now? Because he told us that God is a consuming fire and God is jealous. God is jealous of your children when you try to make them number one. God is jealous of your spouse. I told y'all about some people got married to an unbelieving husband or to a husband that would come to church sometime. Oh, he promised her that, oh, we get married, we're going to be going to church, baby, yeah. Now it's a cuddling morning. Because Saturday he gets up and get in the yard and he works. And he works late on Saturday sometimes. So Sunday, let's just sleep in, baby, let's just sleep in. Huh? Let's just sleep in, baby. We're gonna go. Next Sunday. Whew. Let's just sleep in. We'll get up and go to breakfast. We're gonna catch brunch. Next Sunday. Whew. It's been tough on us all month. Let's just ride out this time. Let's take us a short ride Sunday. Everything is on Sunday. When you don't realize it's been God that's keeping you with this Negro, putting up with all his slack, dealing with all of his drama, and you gonna leave your strength to lay up in the bed and cuddle. I'll be back, dude. If you want to cuddle, set your alarm for 5:30. Let's cuddle. But at 7, I'm leaving this compound heading to the church. Rev gonna let us go. We'll be back. I'll be back. Cuddle more. But have breakfast done so I can relax and cuddle. Am I being insensible? I'm just saying staying connected to God, because the only way you're going to stay connected, I'm telling you, man, the only way your marriage is going to work anyway, if God is in it. Shoot, it's already hard enough with the little Jesus I got. If that ain't your Trinitarian concept of marriage, man, you in trouble. I just got through with a couple downstairs, and I told them this. Forget all them things you read in them books. I'm going to give you a simple rule. Be a Christian. That's what I can tell you. If you go after God and she go after God, it ain't going to do nothing but bring y'all closer and closer and closer together. I'm just going to say be Christian. Because somewhere I read in the book about being a Christian, it's called long-suffering, patience, meekness, some forgiveness. I ain't talking about being no husband. I'm talking about being a Christian. That's all I'm talking about. And letting your spouse experience some Christianity. It's not selfish, not easily provoked, and not puffed up. I'm just talking about being a Christian. That's all I'm talking about. You can go to any seminar you want to, but if you don't come home and live as a Christian, you done just went to a seminar. Yeah. That's all you done did. Yeah. And when you got an unevenly yoked, and uneasily yoked don't mean a believer and an unbeliever. Unevenly yoked means that I don't see God the way you see him, and I can stay at home a whole 6 months and it don't bother my walk. That's unevenly yoked. Unevenly yoked means I love spending and you love saving, but I love you. That's unevenly yoked. Unevenly yoked means that I like entertainment. That means clothes, cars, casinos, and all kinds of concerts. I'll save when I get 60. That's unevenly yoked. Y'all hear me? When I like hanging out with my boys, and I prefer hanging out with my boys more than I like hanging out with you, that's unevenly yoked. Unevenly yoked is I go to work Monday through Friday, I get lost. My GPS don't work till Sunday evening. I find my way home. That's unevenly yoked. Y'all hear me? Unevenly yoked means I don't support your dreams. I'm asking you, girl, why you always talking about dreams? Because we tell you this stuff before you propose a question and answer. I do. Or I will. Or yes. We tell you what our values really are. We really tell you a lot of things. All this stuff ain't no new discovery. You knew I like to dress, get my nails done, keep my hair slick and laid. You know I like name brand clothes. You know I like the finest things in life. So if we're going to skip paying tithes so we can go on a shopping spree, we're going to do that. If it means that we got to put everything on a credit card We'll pay them bills later. Send them the minimum amount every month. Yeah, we're going to be in debt till we 70. Die in it. That's why I encourage folk, do that financial statement, fill out your debt, fill out his debt, look at it together, because somebody's getting ready to sponsor somebody. Y'all laughing, but it's for real. Somebody getting ready to sponsor somebody. And if he's out of control with spending, guess what you getting ready to do? And you like to save. You getting ready to be a sponsor. Because it ain't going to last long. I kid you not. If you can't reel that joker in and make him value $1 and get on the same team you own and say, hey, we up to bat, man. And he's still out there in the outfield. Hey, it's our turn to bat. He telling you, no, did it. you bet. And I'm going to catch the ball. You bet, baby. I'm going to catch the ball. But, baby, we're on the same team. If you catch it, I'm out. Y'all, that's stupid what I just said. But really, that's reality. You know, when it's your turn to bat, all the players on the field come to the dugout. Even the ones that ain't going to bat comes to the dugout. Y'all follow what I'm saying? Nobody on your team needs to be standing out there in the outfield or playing a base when it's your turn to bat. What I'm really saying is that this is a team game. It's a team game. So that's what Moses talked about, man. So he says, listen, God is jealous, man. Go ahead on and hang with God. 29. He goes on to say, but if from thence thou shalt seek the Lord thy God, you'll find him. If thou seek him with all your heart and with all your soul. I'm going to tell you, a lot of times we go after God this way. There's a lot of writing on this board, and I'm sorry. We go after God half-heartedly because we treat God just like we treat marriage. And everybody know what Plan B is, don't you? They sell them at Walgreens and CVS too. Y'all hear me? We always think about the alternative when something happened that we don't want. And when it doesn't fit our lifestyle anymore. Y'all laughing, but I'm dead serious. Here's the thing. Most people go, well, if it don't work out. Not a thought. Yep. I'm in this for the long haul. If it works, it works. If it don't, I tried everything I could. I did everything I could.
Not only do we go after God half-heartedly, I think when we go after God, unfortunately, we go after his hand.
Yep.
And not his heart.
I just had that conversation.
He says, seek my face.
Seek my face.
We want to say, Lord, bless me with this and that.
Yeah.
If we get in his face, we person. And we get everything he has in his hand.
Right. I'm going to tell you something about a relationship. I just explained this. I'm a good talker. When I go home to Jan, she a lot of times wish that the preacher that be up here at 11:30, she wish he come home. That's the man she be looking for to come home, be up here. With that robe on. If I could just change the platform, if we could shift that church and sit him down in his house. And I'm going to tell y'all something. I'm the best husband in the world. Men agree with me. And women too. You're the best spouse in the world when you're riding along in the car just thinking things through. Ooh, you think about all the things that you could do and all the things you want to do and maybe this and that. Man, when you just driving and thinking at 3 o'clock in the morning, everybody's asleep, man, you got all these great ideas. Then you wake up. Then you show up at home. Man, if we could be the spouses at home that we are in the car and the things that come across our mind at work, man, couldn't nobody shake us, man. You think about really nice, great ideas when you by yourself ride. I do. No. I be thinking sometimes, man, you know what? You ought to do this. You ought to do that. Man, you know what? That'd be a good thing right there. Yep. You ought to do this. Man, you ought to cook dinner. Man, I walk in the house or I leave here. Man, I pass by that sign that say them chicken tenders for $5 and a side and a biscuit. I said, okay, 1 box. McDonald's now got the $5 daily menu. Monday Big Macs. Ooh, Jesus. A Big Mac with barbecue sauce. Tell them to be light on the Mac sauce, but give you a barbecue sauce and the fries, Sprite, drink, or a Coca Dr. Pepper. Hear me now. Take that burger with the light Mac sauce on it and dip it in that barbecue sauce. Boy. Then Tuesday's a $1/4 pound. Fried fish. Y'all laughing at me, but I bet you I'm saving more money on lunch than y'all. Huh? Huh? Hold up, y'all, I can't hear. What you say? Y'all talking, I can't hear. Keisha, what you say? Y'all laughing, I can't hear. Keisha, what you say? What you say? What about looking for more coupon options? I bet I know Crystals, I know Burger King, I know McDonald's, I know Rally's, Wendy's. What she say? Who is cooking? Man, I'm gonna tell y'all, this is for real, for real. Then I'm gonna get off this tangent. Let me see. I used to cook practically every day. Practically every day. I cook. Oh yeah. Oh, I ain't gonna tell you nothing wrong now. There were days when Jan would get off work and I knew she would walk through the door at 5:30, 5:45. And I would be cooking the last thing coming off the stove. When she come in, I said, let's get ready to eat, y'all. I moved from South Jackson to up here in Ridgeland. And I lost myself. I got to moving furniture and stuff. Then I never picked Gary up that cook. We threw so much stuff out, I think I threw that Gary out that cooks. I think I threw him out. If y'all seeing, tell him I'm looking for him. But listen, don't y'all be in a hurry to bring you. If y'all got somewhere else to stop and go, do all that. But just tell him I'm looking for him. I'm telling you, I used to cook 2 vegetable meat every day. Bread every day. You're going to eat something just about every day. Now, I ain't do much on Saturday and Sunday, but Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, you're going to get something. Still waters run deep. All right, y'all, let's move. Moses continually urges in chapter 4 as we move about them. Now, you hear Moses keep telling them about God and about not forgetting God. He reminds them of their ancestral ties to God, so forth and so on. Now we're in chapter 5. Chapter 5, Moses began to talk about the commandments that he received from God, and he wanted to let them know that here's the thing that you need to know about God. Most people would think that God gives us all these rules and regulations so he can restrict us, because most folk think that church holds folk back. Being a Christian holds me back. The thing that we got to remember about God in the 10 Commandments, I'm going to tell you something. 10 Commandments could change the world. Yeah, 10 Commandments could change the world. What God is more interested in than anything else is found in Genesis chapter 1, verse number 26. The rules that God give us, or the scriptures that God give us, is that we will emulate him. We will be like him. Be in the image of God. That's why I told you a couple Sundays ago, if not this past Sunday, we have to really start thinking about imagery. Because what ends up happening is that if we ought to be the replica of the model that has been given to us, we don't look to the world for that. We look to the church for that. That means that the church has to heighten herself and get herself together and realize that, listen, Jesus left us with a model. I listened to a sermon I preached a long time ago. It was on a Mother's Day, I believe. And the title of that sermon, we'll see if y'all remember it, was called Well Done.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Well done. Yeah. And in the closing of that sermon, my final point was that before Jesus could take his last breath, he was on the cross and he looked out, and John tells us that before he gives up the ghost, he looks at his mama.
Yes, sir.
And when the question is asked, why did Mary follow Jesus this far? Because when you love somebody and you care about somebody and that person is in your heart, you will follow them even unto death. Here's the thing. What we have to realize is Mary wanted to make sure her boy was encouraged. She wanted to make sure that her boy had somebody in the corner. Every step of his way. This is what God is concerned about. Image. If the way you conduct business doesn't look like God, the way you deal with conflict doesn't look like God, the way you handle people doesn't look like God. You know the old thing, what would Jesus do? The more is this how God wanted to look? And I'm going to tell y'all something. When you start talking about imagery, it changes dynamics. Because sometimes you got to realize this about imaging in the imagery of God. As God forgive, you got to forgive. As God love, you got to love. God doesn't care about what's going on in your life. He still loves you. God doesn't love you to manipulate you. God loves you that you may know his love. And that knowing his love, it would help you to improve your quality of life. It is a fanfare thing for us. And that's what it's all about. So when he talks about these things, catch this right here. He goes on to say to them that that God did the world in 6 days, and the seventh day that God looked at things and Sabbath for the rest. He says that we should try to do what? Honor thy father and thy mother, so forth and so on. He goes on to say that thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not commit adultery, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not lie against thy neighbor, thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife or his house or anything in his house. He goes on to say that these things that God gave us, that we may look like God's people. God gives us these rules so that we can look like God. Did I lose y'all? Sabbath is made for man and not man for the Sabbath. God don't need you, but you need God. God is saying, listen, don't take the Lord's name in vain. Listen, you need to know that some things you don't play with. Honor thy father and thy mother. You don't get to pick them, and we don't get to pick y'all. You don't get to pick your parents. When a child is born, the child is born. That's it. We didn't go to Walmart and say, listen, aisle 3, another one of them. You follow what I'm saying? Some things that you can order and get custom made. We don't get that choice. You have, and I'm going to tell y'all something, y'all. Y'all can laugh at me if you want to, but I'm going to tell you something. In the midst of children being born into a parent home that they have nothing to do with, for that person to be loved by a child shows us with a heart untouched and untaunted what it looks like. I done seen old men with children. And them children that are proud of their daddy as they could be. They love them unconditionally. Children, I learned it through D. Man, you can put on your best clothes. they'll puke on you. And you got to learn how to be forgiving, clean them up, start over again. And listen, while they puking on you, you say, that's all right. You forgiving it as it go. You change the pamper. As soon as you take the pamper off and they exposed, they decide I ain't through. Yeah. Mess up a brand new pair of pants because you thought you were looking good, get ready to take out. You and your baby get ready to ride out some. Man, I got my baby girl this weekend. We get ready to ride, you know. Get ready to go, show my baby off. You know, I'm babysitting. Got my baby, you know. Boy, you done bought a new pair of Levi blue jeans on. You got your white press shirt on. Them Jimmy, them Converses and those black Nikes. What is it called? A BK shoe. What they call? British night shoe. You looking ready. And he said, ooh, let me change this pamper before we go. And you fool around there kneeling beside the bed, changing the pamper. And you forgot that you didn't burp this baby. And she fool around and have a burping attack. And you look at your white shirt and say, oh my Jesus. It's sore. You ain't wore it, and I ain't asked Mama, how you get these kind of stains out? They go to the trash. You got to run back up to Walmart or Kmart or Fred's, wherever you got it from. Start over again. But you ain't throw the baby out the window. You still sitting there changing that pamper like, oh, sweetie, that's all right. I learned unconditional love right there. I learned to love and not expect nothing back right there. Being a parent. That was my eye-opener right there. The day this girl was born, I went into the hospital, and when I saw her, she spoke volumes of me that I never heard anybody ever speak, and she didn't say nothing. She just looked. But it was like she was talking to me. Man, I'm depending on you. I heard it just as clear as day. I'm depending on you. And she wasn't doing nothing but still sitting there looking nasty. But you hear it. I'm depending on you to be there. I'm depending on you to do right by me. I'm depending on you to take care of me. I'm depending on you to look out for me. I'm looking for you for the things that I need in life, that you're going to be there for those monumental moments. Daddy, I trust you with my life. I trust you with everything. She ain't said nothing. This was day one. This girl was talking to me, and I'm just sitting there looking like, oh my God. Because my thing was, I love you because I'm getting something out or from. But nothing I can give but to change some pampers, go get some more formula, find a pacifier, go buy some more clothes, bibs. My mama had said, you get a baby, you're going to take care of him. And God knows Sally meant that. She meant that. You get a baby, you're going to take care of that baby. I remember once I went to go pick up D. Jay and Daddy said, Lily Mae, you going to let that baby go with that boy? And Lily Mae said, well, there's his child. Better for him, Charlie, to be looking out for him and do something for him. His heels. I said, yeah. Because back in them days, you know, Mom and Daddy could tell you ain't getting this baby. You just standing there looking crazy because you ain't going to deal with them old folk. Not like back then. You weren't going to deal with them old folk like that. You just said yes, sir, and you left. But I'm telling you, that's it. So Moses is saying this is why the rules are here. I'm skipping a lot of chapter 5 to get to the content. The reason that you got these rules is because God wants a holy people. And God gives us 10 things that will help us to look like him. Chapter 5. There was something else in here in chapter 5. I got to try to find it. Well, I don't see it. I don't see it. Those are the Decalogues, or the 10 Commandments. It talks about the days being prolonged upon the earth and so forth. Anybody got anything they want to add? We made it to chapter 5. Anything out of chapter 5? Because I know you've been anxious to read it. And you got it so good you went home and read it. Anything that you strike your pen on? All right, this is what I said from chapter 1 to chapter 5. You have been created for God's purpose. God's going to bring you out of every experience in order to get you to a place to know his faithfulness. Everywhere you go, he will provide for it. Not only will God put things in your hands, but God will put things in your pocket. But more than the things in your hands and in your pocket, God wants something in your heart. And that's love for him. God wants that kind of fellowship because, as Dennis said earlier, a lot of times we're attracted to the hand of God because we want the bountiful blessings of God. What you got to know is this, that if you hang out with the person that's got the blessing, you got access. You ain't got to be worried about, is he going to take care of you because you with him. Let me tell you something. Every time Jesus ate, them boys ate. Every time Jesus ate, them 12 disciples ate. Every time Jesus laid down with cover over his head, they laid down with cover over theirs. Every time Jesus came out of trouble, 12 of them came out of it with him. He didn't leave nobody behind. Holding the stick. If you hang with God, the provisions that God makes, you will enjoy. You will enjoy. Just hanging out with him. And this is what Moses is saying. God is taking you to a new land. Let me tell you something. One thing I want y'all to remember. I'm talking to all four of y'all on that pew right there. All y'all on that pew right there. I'm talking to all four of y'all on the pews right there. I want you to understand this. Even if God has never done it for anybody else yet, God has the prerogative to do it the first time. Moses said, do you see how God provided manna in the wilderness? Nothing that your parents knew anything about. But God did that for the first time. God is willing to do things in your lives that he has not done in the lives of others. But he'll use it as a testament to show people, I can do strange new things. He'll do that. God will take you through places. You hear me? Through places to get you to the place that he wants you to be. Love him, obey him, trust him in all that you do. When God discovers your faithfulness, you'll discover more of his. Yep. I think my time is up. When you've been walking with Jesus for 10 years, ain't nothing worth going back to. You got too much invested. You hear me? When you recognize that it's been God all the time, ain't nothing worth looking back at. Nothing worth looking back at. I'm at a place in life, I want to see Jesus. And I'm not willing to let anything, person, turn me around. There's a promised land. I heard my mama talk about it. I heard my big mama talk about it and sing about it. And somewhere both of them told me there's a place there for you. Since I've been grown, I've discovered it for myself. There's a place for me. And if God has gone through so much trouble to prepare something with me in mind, why would I not go get it? And why would I be defrauded of it? I'm going. Looking for what he's promised. That's in his Father's house. Many mansions. If it were not so, I wouldn't have tricked you like this. But where I am, I want you to be. And I want to be there. Somebody said, well, man, I get there, I'm going to shout my troubles over. When I get there, I'm just going to shout it's over. I'm just going to be happy to be there. Because y'all do know what happens in heaven, don't you? You know people greater than you know them now. You don't have to worry about sickness and dying and troubles and murderers. You don't have to worry about health failing, dialysis and pacemakers, defibrillators, resuscitation. You don't have to worry about aspirins and Midol and Aleve and Tylenol, high blood pressure, Neosporins, amoxicillins. No. Every day is a healthy day. Then you get to meet people that you read about in the book. You get to see people like Abram, whose name was changed to Abraham. Sarah, his wife. You get to see people like Peter that denied him, but got it back together and preached one time and 3,000 souls was added to the church. You get to hear about Paul that went on missionary journeys, that when he was gathering wood to build a fire, and when he put the wood on the fire, a serpent caught him by the hand, and Paul shook it off and it was not unto death. You get to hear about it here, but you get to see the man over yonder. You get to see people who made it in, who had practices as harlots, but did something good for the men and people of God. And for that, God blessed them. You get to meet that man that was on the cross that says, remember when you get to the kingdom? And Jesus said, today you'll be there. You said, man, that was you. High five. That was you. But more than that, you get to see Jesus. That made the ultimate sacrifice for our sins. And then when you see Jesus, somebody said that you shall see God. And he reveals himself. Layer by layer, level by level. And he says to this thing at the banquet table, welcome, everybody. I'm glad you're home. Though you may have had many troubles and trials, Jesus sits and smiles. He says, we thought you were worth it all. We thought you were worth saving. Welcome home, y'all. Welcome home. That's my time. Thank you.
Amen.